Aloha, Ohana, Tribe of Light, welcome. My name is PinkBella from PinkBella Aloha Therapy. Welcome. Today is Saturday, July 15th. And there's been some pretty awesome messages that have come my way, but I was guided to create a series of small videos today. This has been on my list for a long time. So yesterday I created a video around the 5 stages that have become very, very clear to me as a Blu-ray twin flame on this journey. So who am I? I'm PinkBella for PinkBella Aloha Therapy. Welcome to my YouTube channel if you've just found me, and if you're a return subscriber, I appreciate you all. So today I'm just going to do 5 little mini videos about the various stages that my journey has taken me on, being a Blu-ray, being a twin flame. And I'm going to do another video about the 144,000 coming up as well. I don't know if it'll be today, but in the next few days as well, because there's different waves of twin flames. So this is absolutely from with my perspective, my higher self and source, the connection with my twin flame. This is how everything has unfolded for me. I'll just go into generalizations today to keep our union and our journey private, of course. I share some things in sessions, but it's very, very private. This is a sacred journey for all of us. So I'm a Blu-ray, a twin flame, a quantum healer, a starseed, a light worker, a Usui Reiki master, all the labels that a crystal healer. I've had lifetimes in Atlantis and Lemuria. Starseed meaning lifetimes in and around our universe and galaxy, working with star beings. And that will be another story. I'll do a separate video around that. So today, no cards. I'm just asking my higher self to bring in remembrances and vibrations and what transpired when this all started. So stage 1, I'm calling it, this is a diary of a Blu-ray, and this is the twin flame meet and activation. So looking back on my journey, I was always being prepared to reconnect with my twin flame, but I didn't know that because I didn't know what a twin flame was. I knew about soulmates. I knew about knowing that I came here to find and be with my one true love. But even for a lot of us, it goes much deeper than that at a deep cellular level. It's a deep cellular memory. And I will share more information that's come to me about my personal journey in the next little while. But for those of you who are twin flames, the journey is about the union within and about loving yourself and connecting with source. It's just that when we go through the stages, it's not always very clear. So hopefully the little videos today, which will create a little diary of the 5 stages so far, will be of assistance to all of you. So basically, to start my journey, it obviously went my whole life. Everything was being prepared for me all the way along. We choose the date of birth we come in, with our higher self and source in the universe. Our astrology chart is our map, our guide, and we're learning more and more about that as the days and weeks go on as well. So when things really shifted for me was 2007, when my mom suddenly became sick and she transitioned very quickly. Her and I actually had a conversation about numerology. She brought it to my attention. I would find that when I was driving my mom around to her appointments, her higher self was channeling through, and I paid attention. So one day, and this is in 2007, which is a 27, all right? So one day she said to me that a number in her life had always been very significant. It was the date she got married. Many significant things, both positive and negative, had happened on this date, the 27th. So I paid attention. She felt that that was her magical number. She then transitioned on April 27th. And that meant so much to me. Obviously, we were very close, and it was very hard. I was actually stuck in the grief cycle around my mom for quite a while. Enter the twin flame. But prior to that, so my mother transitioned April 2007 on the 27th. A few months later, I was invited to go to New York, Manhattan for the first time. Actually, sorry, it was the second time. I'd been there for a weekend before. And that there's also there's great many portals and vortexes around the planet. And as you all know, if you've been watching my videos and my story, I was activated many times, Hawaii, Australia, Egypt and the pyramids. Didn't know about the portal in the vortex in Manhattan till I had this experience. The final week of my mom's existence on this planet, she wasn't able to speak. So we communicated through dreams and that sort of thing. And before she left, I said to her, you know, come and see me in my dreams. She did. In July 2007, I call them clairvoyant dreams, very clear dreams. When you know you're in another timeline and a reality, you're actually interacting as if you're seeing me and we're having a conversation. My mom came to say goodbye to me. And it was very emotional, obviously, but that my gifts started to awaken. So I actually woke up crying because both her and I were crying when we were saying goodbye to each other. And this is the first time I've been able to share that and not cry, because it was just so wow. So then I was being prepared for many things. I had transitioned out of my corporate job due to all the stress everything that I've been under. Things happened where the doors closed for me to be in the corporate world, and I had to start looking at other options. I went for a reading with someone named Michael that I didn't even know existed. That sort of thing to help guide me along my path. So then things were set up that I met two souls in 2008 in Greece. They then came to North America and traveled throughout North America, and I met them in Los Angeles, California in 2009. So we were establishing a friendship and a connection. Knowing, my higher self knowing that I would, you know, form a connection with these souls, and then when they asked me to go somewhere, I would agree to go because we got along so well. They were soul family, our soul family. So in 2010, they contacted me and they said, look, we're going to Greece. Would you like to meet us? And it was very last minute. They had decided very last minute because they live in Europe. And I was like, absolutely. So I went. Now, this is the really interesting part. They had already picked a hotel to stay at, and they tried a new place in a new area, and it was an area on this island I had never stayed before. I already felt this trip was different. I was feeling a lot of nervous energy about going, but I knew that it was important to go, so I did. Enter my twin flame. Now, what's interesting is he ran the hotel at that time period. That's the only time I ever stayed in that area. It's the only time I ever stayed at the hotel. He's no longer running that hotel. So you can start to see, looking in your life, how everything is set up. The energy between us was unbelievable. And actually, one day I was standing on the patio and he was sitting, talking to new guests quite far away from me. And I felt something come all the way across the patio and almost knock me over. Took me the longest time to determine what that was, because this is 2010. No, very, very little information about twin flames or this kind of connection. Our energy fields had already merged that day and activated each other, but I didn't know it. So his energy field already knew my energy field, and it came to meet me on the patio. It expanded to meet me. It took me the longest time to realize that he was not my twin was not conscious of what was going on. He just knew that there was an attraction, and this is often the case with stage 1. Now, like many of you, the situation was definitely not perfect. 6,000 miles away, involved in a karmic partnership, children, different culture and language. So the whole time I was there, I didn't know I was speaking to source of the universe or my higher self at that time, but I was like, I do not want to connect with this person. This person's not available. You know, move it along. Let's find somebody else. I knew I was supposed to meet somebody amazing on that trip, but I did not expect this whole journey, of course. So the days went on. He would try and come to talk to me, and I would just talk to him politely and then leave. 2 days left in the trip. It was conveniently set up that the 2 people and I, who I was traveling with, we had some kind of strange altercation one night, to the point where the next morning I didn't want to spend time with them and they didn't want to spend time with me. So we had like a 2-day separation. And I was quite like relieved. I got time to rest and just walk around and do my own thing. So one day, of course, I was coming back to the hotel on my own to watch the sunset. As soon as I started heading into the hotel, I heard this music. It's still with me. A couple of songs that the universe had already organized. Of course, there's no one at the hotel except for him and I. So I thought, well, we better have a conversation. It just felt like it was right. So we talked and talked, and it was beautiful. And then I decided to go to sleep early that night. So I left, we said goodnight, and I went to sleep. I had a dream that night, like the dream I had with my mom. It was his higher self. It took me a long time to know this as well. Oftentimes when we dream about our twins, it will be our higher self versions having a situation occur, doing work together, and then we'll be allowed to remember the connection. So in this dream, it was his higher self that came to speak to me. And because I'd had the connection with my mom, I knew this connection was important, even though it made absolutely no sense on an earth level, on a human level. So the next day we spent time together, and every time we spent time together, of course, we were activating each other. And what does that mean? We all have light codes and sacred geometry in our energy field waiting to be activated, new DNA waiting to be activated. So we become more conscious. We share codes with souls all the time. But when we're at a part of our journey that it's necessary for us to leap, to quantum jump, to really start into our soul mission, oftentimes the twin flame will appear, unbeknownst to myself and my twin at the time. And it's taken us a long time to figure out what has been going on. So we activated each other. And then, of course, some twins at this stage do get into the intimate part. We were blocked. And there's a good reason for that, because depending on if you're a Blu-ray or what your mission is, the intimacy can really fog and really cause a lot of harm and damage to one or both twins, both energetically and emotionally. So I understand that too about us being blocked. It was important. So I came back to Canada. He stayed where he was. We communicated quite frequently over, that was 2010, so into 2011. 2011 was a huge year for me. Everything changed. Different job, sold my home. Like many of you, went through a large transition, not understanding that a lot of it had to do with the activation that my twin and I had gone through together. He also went through many changes that were not happy changes for him, but they were necessary. So that really, so stage one, honestly, now this came to me last fall when he and I spent time together during the eclipses in September and the equinox. My higher self would download information to me after he and I spent a couple of hours together talking, visiting, expanding our consciousness. That twins, particularly Blu-rays at this time, have an incredibly difficult mission, but also we have lock and key codes, specific DNA and light codes only that the other one can activate when you spend time together. There doesn't even have to be any intimacy. So now looking back on it, he and I went through an incredible level of activation. When I met my twin, he was a Reiki master and I was at Reiki level 1 or 2. Wouldn't you know it? Everything started to open up for me after he and I spent time together, and I got back into everything that had come to me in the 90s. It was time. So it was time for me to remember and to become a Reiki master. It was time for me to remember my Atlantean and Lemurian identity and remember about healing and crystals. It was time for me to study angels. I did so much compact study work between 2011 until the end of 2012. And I realized that the next time my twin and I connected, we had completely transformed into 2 different people. And that's often why our higher selves will arrange the meeting to help both souls accelerate to their next level of awakening and consciousness. So it's not just about 2 people coming together in a romantic partnership. This is very hard to discern. And there's very many levels of twin flames and divine partnerships and divine unions. But I know the core group of Blu-rays, it's been a long, challenging journey, but it's starting to get very exciting. So I feel like that's sort of where I'm going to wrap up the stage one, that when you interact and meet with your twin, you both activate each other energetically, and new light and light codes, new DNA is activated, and new lock and key codes are activated for both of you. And then that moves into stage two. And stage two is the detoxing, releasing old templates, releasing old belief systems, and becoming the best version of you. So I'm going to sign off with this, and thank you so very, very much. Again, if any of you would like to book a session and or a class, all the information is below, and you can email me or go to my website and check everything out and get in touch with me. Love and aloha, everyone. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, and I'm going to go to the next live shortly. Bye, everyone.